your body anytime dropping. All right, guys, welcome to Heart Academy for the distance learning project. Hold on a second, I'm having problems controlling my music. All righty, so welcome to Heart Academy again. This is for the distance learning packet, and this is how this is going to work. So your page 1 looks like this. I'm going to go through every single page and do examples if that's what you need, okay? However, I'm not going to do the examples of the problems you have. So your page 1 looks like this, and your first problem looks like this. So if you're not remembering how to simplify fractions, this is where I'm starting, page 1, except I'm not doing the ones that you have. I'm doing ones that are from the bottom of the sheet, which you don't have. But this section that I'm going to do is coming from the same sheet. It's just the bottom half of the sheet. I gave the top half of every sheet that I copied, and then so I could demonstrate to you the bottom half. So I'm going to start like this. Okay, why am I doing that? Because, my friends, it's best for you to learn how to do the concept on your own through multiple examples. Yes, beforehand, I would always do half of your homework for you. It is now time for you to take a little bit more responsibility with the learning, so I will demonstrate, but not do the problems that you have. So first, you're going to reduce this. Reducing means making the fraction smaller. So you need to think to yourself, what number will go into 6 and a 9 evenly? Now, I know that these are multiples of 3. If you're not sure what these are multiples of, that's where you can look at your multiplication chart. So in your multiplication chart, you're going to find a row that has a 6 and a 9 in it. But remember, we don't use a first row, okay? So I'm going to find a row that has a 6 and a 9 in it. Here's a 6, but no 9. Here's a 6, and here's a 9. So the 6 will become 2, the 9 will become 3. Since 2 and 3 are very close to each other in the chart, I know that there's not going to be any more 6 and 9s together in the same row. So this will reduce to 2/3. So we'll go back over to the other sheet. Voila. And now we have 2/3 for this one, okay? Looking for the next one. You may not know what 21 and 56 go into evenly. So again, another good chance to use your multiplication chart, okay? Remember, not the first row. And remember, we're looking for a 21 and a 56 in the same row. Okay, so 21 is a smaller number, so I'll start there. Here's a 21, but there's no 56. See that? So that's not going to work. No 21, no 21, no 21. Here's a 21. Here's a 56. So that can reduce to 3/8. Okay? Now 3/8, that's odd number with an even number, so that gives me a good idea that this is as low as it's going to go. So 3/8. Next one, 9 and 36. I happen to know that 9 and 36 are multiples of each other. 9 will go into itself 1 time, 9 will go into 36 4 times. Now, if you don't know your 9s table and can't figure that part out just yet, you can still, again, use your multiplication chart. Look for a row of 9 and 36. And when you do that, remember not the first row, I have 9, I have 36. When I do it this way, I can see my answer would be 3/12. However, 3 and 12 are multiples of each other. So you always want to make sure and check a few other rows just in case. Again, looking for a 9, 36. So really, it reduces to 1/4. See that? Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice of seeing if something will reduce once and then reduce again. So this time I have 9 and 45. Guess what? 9 and 45 are multiples of each other because 9 will go into itself 1 time, 9 goes into 45 5 times. If you weren't sure about that, remember, you can always go to the chart. See? 9 and 45. So if you see, I have a 3 and a 15. But again, 3 and 15 are multiples of each other, okay? So I know there's going to be another 9 and a 45 here somewhere, and I will know that I will find it here. And so that's where you have 1/5. 1/5. Okay? So next, a 6 and a 42. You can go to your chart, looking for the row that has a 6 and a 42. So I have 3/21, but those are multiples of 3. So I know there's another 6 and a 42 here somewhere. Here's a 6, 42. This time I have 2 and 14. Those are 2 even numbers, so I know there's going to be another 6 and 42. 6 42. 1 over 7. That's much better. Okay, so this one will reduce to 1 over 7. Next one, 14 over 35. I have a 14. There's no 35, so I can't use that one. No 14, no 14, no 14, no 14. Here's a 14 and a 35. If I could draw straight, it'd be better. So that's a 2 over 5. That's what will work for me. 2 over 5. And I have an even and an odd number, so I'm pretty much done with that one. Next, we have the 24 and the 36. I'm first look for 24. Here's one. And a 36. Here's one. So that will give me 12 over 18. But 12 and 18 are both even numbers, so I know there's another row that has 24 and a 36. 24, 36. Now I have an 8 and a 12. Still both even numbers, so let's look again. 24, 36. Now I have a 6 and a 9. But 6 and 9 are multiples of 3, so I know it's going to reduce again. 24, 36. Now I have a 4 and a 6. Guess what? Both even numbers, so you can reduce again. 24, no 36. See if we have another 24. Here we go. This time I'm going to change colors. 24, 36, 2 over 3. So again, it takes a little bit of time to realize if you have multiples of each other or still two even numbers, etc. So my suggestion to you is always check more than one row and check around so that you can see if it can reduce even farther. Okay, so this gave us 2 over 3. 10 and 12 are both even numbers, you can reduce by 2. Okay, or look for a row that has a 10 and a 12. 10, 12. See that? 5, 6. And done. So that should show you the first half of the first page. My next part looks like this for page 1. So page 1, the second half of the page, you have these, and these you're going to change into improper fractions by using a calculator if you need to, because the numbers are pretty large, and some of these numbers you're not going to find on that simple multiplication chart. But remember, in class I showed you how to use a calculator to do the division, but yet still show your work. So this is the first row of your problems, so you know I'm not going to do that one. So instead, I'm going to do other ones from that same page, but you don't have, okay? So to do the division part, this is what we do. Pretty simple, but it's got a few steps in it, so let's see if we can follow along. So what I'm going to do first is do the division. Outside of the house, I call my division sign, my division symbol, this right here, the house. This is outside of the house, this is inside the house. The bottom number of your fraction goes to the outside of the house, the top number of your fraction goes inside of the house. So you need to figure out how many times 18 will go into 36, okay? Go ahead and use your calculator. Remember, if you're using a calculator, put the big number first, and then the division key, then 18. So 36 divided by 18, okay? That will give me 2. Notice that you did not have a decimal here, so that's a good thing. So take that 2, and then what's the next step that we do? We multiply. So 18 times 2, right, is 36. And what do we do with this? We subtract, okay? So when we subtract, you see we have 0. If you don't have a remainder, there's no fraction to it. It's just the whole number. So my answer here, final answer for this one, is simply going to be 2. Now let's go ahead and try 27 and a 72. Remember, bottom number on the outside of the house, top number on the inside of the house. 27 will go into 72 how many times? Go ahead and use that calculator. 72 divided by 27. This time you're going to get a decimal if you're looking at your calculator. If you get a decimal, just use the whole number. The whole number is the number before the decimal. So that would be 2. And then follow the same steps that you did with the first one. Follow the basic steps of division. What are we going to do now? We multiply. Okay? So if we're multiplying 27 times 2, and go ahead and do that in your calculator or look on your chart, you get 54. What do we do now? We subtract. Okay? So 72 minus 54. 72 minus 54, you get 18 left over, okay? So now I have everything I need to put a mixed number together. So for my mixed number, okay, the number that's on top of your house becomes the whole number. The number that is left over, the remainder, that becomes your numerator. The number outside of the house stays as your denominator. So I have 2 and 18 over 27 for my final answer for this one. So again, 2, 18 over 27, okay? So remember, I'm allowing you to use calculators in class now because I'm working with bigger numbers, even though these aren't that big, but trust and believe when you get back, they're going to be bigger. And so when you use a calculator to do your division, this is the way I want you to do your division, okay? So this way you still are able to show all the steps of division on your scrap paper, and yet proceed faster with it by allowing the calculator to do the basic work for you, okay? So let's do 50 into 60. Here we go. Remember, 50 is on the outside of the house. 60 is on the inside. Okay? How many times? Well, 50 going to 60, use your calculator. You're going to get a decimal answer, 60, 50. Okay? Like 1.2, use the number that is before the decimal. That's the whole number. And remember what to do from here. Multiply and subtract. And with this, you have everything you need in order to put your mixed number together. Remember, mixed numbers mean it has a whole number and a fraction with it. Now, I know that this can reduce, okay? So if you find a fraction that can reduce, because this will reduce to 1 1/5, okay? That's fine. I'm okay if you don't reduce because the top half of the page practice reducing everything, all right? So my main purpose for this half of the page is to make sure that you're able to do the division correctly in order to form a mixed number. So if you don't reduce on this bottom half of the page, I'll be okay with that. If you do, even better, okay? Let's go ahead and try this one. We have 90 on the outside of the house, 150 on the inside, okay? Again, big number first in the calculator, and you're going to get 1.6666 or 6666 or 6667 or something like that. Use the whole number that's there, and that's just 1. We multiply. 1 times 90 is 90, and then we subtract. Okay, so 150 minus 90 equals 60. Now you have the 3 pieces that you need to put that mixed number together. Your whole number, the number on top of the house, is the whole number. Your remainder is your numerator, and the number outside of the house is your denominator. Again, I know this can reduce, but it's okay if you find one and if you're not sure if it can reduce or not, okay? But just to get that practice in, I know that these are multiples of each other, okay? First part of reducing this, I can take this out, and now it has 6 over 9. This is a 0 rule. You see 2 zeros lined up like this? You can just cancel them right on out. Now it's already smaller, but these 2 numbers can be divided by 3, can't they? So I know it can reduce. And I'll reduce them to 1 2/3. Okay? So for my answer on this one, I have 1 2/3. I hope this is making it a little bit easier for you to do the portion, the top portion, which would be yours. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one on mine, just to get that more practice in. And if you know what you're doing by now, it's not like you have to watch all the video. Just gives you an idea of what to do for your problems. 30 will go into 40. You use a calculator. It would be 1 time. Remember, we multiply and we subtract. So now my fraction is 1 30 over, excuse me, whoops, 10, the remainder, over 30, that's 10. 10 over 30. I know this can reduce to 1 1/3. All right, so I'm actually going to, actually the video is going to run out, so I'm not going to do any more examples. Hopefully, again, this gives you the idea of what you need in order to get the problems in your packet correct. And I will see you on the next video for page 2.